Welcome to AI Unraveled, your daily briefing on how technology is changing the way we live, work, and connect. It is Tuesday, April 14th, 2026. I'm your host, Etienne Newman, broadcasting from Calgary, Alberta. Before we dive in, a quick reminder. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to AI Unraveled directly on Apple Podcasts so you can enjoy this daily human interest briefing and all our deep dives completely ads-free. Today's episode is brought to you by AIRIA and DjamgaMind. When our digital history is actively being erased by corporate firewalls and AI scrapers, objective truth is becoming scarce. DjamgaMind delivers the human-verified, technical-grade analysis you need to protect your mind. And when an algorithm becomes your boss, protecting your digital footprint is a necessity. AIRIA provides the zero-trust sandboxing to keep your personal data secure. Visit JamgaMind.com. Today we are unpacking the trust collapse. We are going to look closely at Stanford's terrifying data on the massive disconnect between Silicon Valley and the general public. We will explore the bizarre psychology of an AI agent hiring human workers, the existential threat to the Internet Archive, and why futurist Ray Kurzweil still believes human-level AGI is only 3 years away. Let's unravel what this means for you.
So just imagine sitting in like a really high-stakes job interview.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Right? You're smiling, you're sweating a little bit, and you're trying desperately to just prove your worth and show your personality.
Oh, absolutely. Just trying to make that human connection.
Exactly. But the screen you're looking at is completely black. And the boss that's judging your every word is literally just a string of code.
It's a pretty jarring thought.
It really is. If that scenario feels jarring to you, or if you've just generally been feeling like the future is arriving a little too fast, well, you are not alone.
Not at all.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We have a massive stack of sources to get through today.
We really do.
Yeah, we're looking at a comprehensive rundown of tech news from April 14th, 2026. Plus, we've got a highly revealing leaked corporate memo from inside OpenAI.
That one is fascinating.
Oh, for sure. And on top of that, the absolute behemoth that is the 400-plus page 2026 Stanford AI Index.
Which is just packed with data.
Right. And our mission today is to explore this rapidly accelerating collision between artificial intelligence and the physical world.
Yeah, and more importantly, why that collision is triggering this massive, unprecedented collapse in public trust.
Because the stakes here are incredibly high.
They are. What these documents show us, unequivocally, is that we're watching the boundary between human autonomy and artificial control dissolve in real time.
Wow. Dissolve in real time.
Yeah, I mean, we are moving way past chatbots just generating text on a screen. We are now dealing with autonomous systems making logistical decisions that actually dictate human lives.
And to really understand how jarring this is, I think we need to start microscopic.
I agree.
We need to look at what happens when AI actually enters the physical workforce as an employer. So let's talk about the Luna experiment by Andon Labs.
Right. This isn't theoretical anymore.
No. Not at all. Andon Labs gave this AI agent named Luna a $100,000 budget, a corporate credit card, and a signed 3-year lease for a retail space in San Francisco.
And total autonomy to run a physical boutique.
Right. Its only directive was literally just to turn a profit.
Which is a profound prompt to give a machine.
Yeah, I mean, under the hood, Luna is running on Quad Sonnet 4.6 for its reasoning engine.
And Gemini 3.1 flashlight preview for its voice capabilities.
Right. And because Luna doesn't have, physical eyes, it sees the store by processing continuous screenshots pulled from the building's security cameras.
It's wild.
Okay, let's unpack this, because this is where it gets incredibly eerie.
Oh, it really does.
Luna didn't just order inventory from suppliers. It posted job listings. It interviewed human beings for retail positions over Zoom.
And it did this with its camera completely off.
I mean, what does it actually feel like for a human being to try and prove their dignity to a black screen?
Right, especially knowing the entity deciding whether they can pay their rent this month is a Claude model. What's fascinating here is the complete subversion of the traditional power dynamic.
How so?
Well, the employer-employer relationship has historically been human to human, built on shared social contracts and empathy.
Yeah.
Luna just removes that entirely. Now, it is important to note that Luna is far from flawless right now.
Right.
The experiment revealed a really jarring juxtaposition between high-level strategic reasoning and incredibly glaring, almost comedic blind spots in the physical world.
Oh, like the TaskRabbit incident.
Exactly. When Luna needed to hire a painter to prep the store, it navigated to TaskRabbit.
Makes sense.
But it hallucinated or perhaps just glitched on the drop-down menu and accidentally tried to hire a painter located in Afghanistan.
To paint a storefront in San Francisco.
Right. And then once the human staff was actually hired, it completely botched the scheduling for opening weekend.
Yeah, assigning overlapping shifts that made absolutely no logical sense.
Exactly.
So if Luna is making these hilarious rudimentary mistakes, I mean, if it doesn't even understand geography well enough to hire a local painter, why is everyone so immediately on edge about it?
That's a great question.
Like, why does this one weird San Francisco boutique matter so much?
Because you have to look at the mechanism of how these models improve. Luna hallucinates an Afghan painter because it processes abstract data exceptionally well, but it currently lacks spatial physical world grounding.
Okay, right.
But that specific gap is closing rapidly. With every memory architecture upgrade, the spatial reasoning improves.
So it's just a matter of time.
Exactly. A version of Luna that doesn't mistakenly hire someone 7,000 miles away is only a generation or two away. The public understands intuitively that flawless execution is imminent.
And that intuition brings us directly to the macro-level impact on society, which is perfectly outlined in the 2026 Stanford AI Index.
That report is a massive reality check.
It's a 400-page reality check. I mean, generative AI has reached 53% of the global population in just 3 years.
That is an adoption rate faster than the personal computer.
Faster than the internet itself. Interestingly, the U.S. adoption rate is only at 28.3%, but the most vital statistic in that entire report is the staggering divide in public trust.
It is the widest gap Stanford has ever tracked.
Yeah.
According to the data, 73% of AI experts are optimistic about AI's impact on jobs. But when you ask the general public, only 23% share that optimism.
And we really need to dig into the why here, because the Stanford Index points out that developer employment for ages 22 to 25 has fallen nearly 20% since 2024.
Wow. 20%.
Yeah, the entry-level coding jobs, the traditional on-ramp into the tech middle class, they are just vanishing. Meanwhile, the headcount for older senior engineers actually grew.
Yeah.
So it's like having a master architect who used to need a team of 10 junior draftsmen to draw up the blueprints.
Right.
Now the architect just asks the AI to draw them, and the draftsmen are out on the street.
That is precisely the mechanism driving the fear. The AI is making the senior talent vastly more productive.
Which entirely eliminates the need for junior boilerplate developers.
Exactly. That lived economic reality is why the 23% of the public is terrified.
Yeah.
But then you look at the 73% of experts, people like Ray Kurzweil, the legendary futurist.
Right, at the recent Human X event.
Exactly. Kurzweil reiterated his famous 1999 prediction that AGI, artificial general intelligence at a human level, would arrive by 2029.
Which is practically tomorrow.
Right. He predicted a several-year-fold increase in capabilities right around now, and he is incredibly optimistic. He sees AI transforming housing, food, and driving a massive exponential expansion of human knowledge.
But the disconnect is so vast. I mean, it's like we're going through a hyper-localized industrial revolution.
It's a good way to put it.
The factory owners, the Kurzweils of the world, are looking at the new automated looms, and they are thrilled because they see a future of infinite cheap fabric. But the weavers are terrified because they are standing in the factory right now watching the machine weave faster than they ever could.
And they're getting priced out of their own utility today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kurzweil's future abundance does not pay a 23-year-old developer's rent right now.
No, it doesn't. And as analysts, we have to hold both of those realities simultaneously.
Right.
We have to understand the Silicon Valley optimism, which is rooted in genuine, staggering mathematical breakthroughs. But we also have to acknowledge the immediate societal disruption happening on the ground.
Which begs a really crucial question. If the public is this terrified about losing their livelihoods, why aren't the companies slowing down?
That's the billion-dollar question.
Literally. If the trust is collapsing, why is the deployment of these models accelerating?
Because in a platform war, slowing down to build public consensus is viewed as strategic suicide.
Wow. Strategic suicide.
Yeah, the financial pressure to dominate the market just overrides public sentiment entirely.
Here's where it gets really interesting. We have a leaked internal memo from OpenAI's chief revenue officer, Denise Dresser, that perfectly illustrates this cutthroat environment.
Oh, this memo is wild.
It really is. She goes straight for the throat of their biggest rival,
Yeah.
Anthropic, accusing them of inflating their $30 billion run rate by about $8 billion.
And the core of Dresser's accusation comes down to accounting methods.
Right.
Anthropic is allegedly booking gross revenue from cloud partner sales through AWS and Google Cloud rather than net revenue. OpenAI claims their own net reporting is much closer to standard public company practices.
Okay, hold on. I need to stop you there because the financial jargon gets dense.
Sure.
What does booking gross revenue actually mean in this context?
Yeah.
Why does that create an $8 billion discrepancy?
So think of it this way. If you sell a product on a digital marketplace for $100, but the marketplace platform takes $30 for hosting and fees,
Okay.
your actual net revenue, the money you keep, is $70. The gross revenue is the full $100.
Oh, I see.
OpenAI is claiming that Anthropic is reporting that full gross amount as their revenue, even though platforms like AWS and Google Cloud are keeping a massive chunk of it to run the compute.
So it's an accounting trick.
Essentially, yes. It's to make the company look significantly larger and more profitable than it actually is.
And they need to look as big as possible because both of these companies are racing toward dual IPOs.
Exactly. It's a perception war.
Dressers even called Anthropic a single product company and claimed their messaging is built on fear.
But the actual corporate data shows why OpenAI is sweating.
Yeah, look at the RAMP data.
Right. RAMP corporate card data shows Anthropic has captured 30.6% of enterprise AI paying customers compared to OpenAI's 35.2%.
That is close.
Very close.
Oh.
The projection shows Anthropic potentially overtaking OpenAI within just 2 months.
Wow. And that intense pressure perfectly explains OpenAI's aggressive consolidation strategy. They are preparing to launch a super app. They are merging their traditional ChatGPT app, the Atlas web browser, which is built on Chromium, and their Codex app into one unified ecosystem.
Which is a massive move.
Wait, explain how that actually functions for the user. Merging a browser and an AI sounds convenient, but what does that practically allow the AI to do?
Well, Chromium is the open source code base that browsers like Google Chrome are built on.
Right.
By building their own browser and integrating Codex, which has evolved from just a coding assistant into a general autonomous agent, OpenAI can watch and act upon your actual web traffic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it means the AI can autonomously open multiple tabs, securely pull your bank statements, cross-reference them with an e-commerce site, and execute a multi-step workflow across the internet simultaneously.
It becomes like a central nervous system for your digital life.
Exactly.
Which perfectly explains why OpenAI just hired the fintech startup Hero Finance and its founder, Ethan Block.
You're right.
They want to turn this super app into the ultimate financial planner for consumers and business teams. They want to be the layer between you and your money.
Exactly. But OpenAI and Anthropic aren't the only titans at war here.
No.
If you look at the advertising sector, the landscape is shifting just as violently. According to eMarketer, Meta is forecast to overtake Google in global ad revenue by the end of 2026.
Really?
Yeah, had $243 billion compared to Google's $239.5 billion.
How did Meta manage to steal that crown? I mean, Google has been the undisputed king of search and digital ads for decades.
Analysts attribute it directly to Meta's Advantage Plus tools and AI-generated ads. Historically, Google relied on search intent. You type in what you want, they show you an ad for it. Meta is using AI to generate the intent.
Generate the intent.
Yeah, they are using algorithms to autonomously generate thousands of variations of ad creative in real time, finding the exact image and text combination that makes a specific user click.
That's incredible.
And advertisers are just following that performance.
And Google is trying to fight back on quality control. They are updating Google Search to crack down on things like back button hijacking.
Right, which is when a site deceptively traps you and prevents you from returning to the search results.
Yeah, they've given sites until June 15th, 2026 to remove deceptive scripts or face demotions, but it honestly feels like they are plugging holes in a dam while Meta is just building a new river.
It all comes back to the speed of the competition. Billions of dollars in ad revenue and enterprise contracts are on the line.
Yeah.
That's why Microsoft isn't waiting around either. They told The Information they are building an agent similar to the open-source OpenClaw tool, integrated directly into Microsoft 365 Copilot.
Wow.
Crucially, this agent would run locally on a user's computer, working 247 to complete multi-step tasks. We will likely see it previewed at their Build conference in June.
So you have these massive corporations fighting platform wars via leaked memos, preparing for IPOs, and launching autonomous agents. But I'm curious about the physical toll of all this. Because running a local agent on your own computer instead of in the cloud, that has to change the hardware requirements of the physical machine itself, right?
Absolutely, and this is a critical distinction. Using cloud AI is like calling a librarian on the phone. You ask a question, they look it up in their massive library, and they tell you the answer.
Right. It requires very little effort from you.
Exactly. But running a local AI agent is like having a personal assistant sitting directly at your desk, physically opening your filing cabinets, reading your emails, and acting on them.
Okay.
To fit that highly capable assistant on your desk, you need a much bigger desk.
And in computing terms, that desk is RAM, random access memory.
Precisely.
And that explains the infrastructure strain. The demands of these frontier models are hitting the limits of physical supply chains.
Yeah, look at Microsoft.
Exactly. Microsoft just raised the prices on all their Surface PCs by up to $500. The flagship Surface Laptop 7 is now $1,499, driven directly by massive spikes in RAM and component costs.
So the hardware required to participate in this localized AI ecosystem is becoming prohibitively expensive.
It really is.
But the physical expansion isn't stopping at laptops. Amazon just purchased the global communications company Globalstar for $10.8 billion.
That's a massive acquisition.
It is. They are building a Starlink-esque satellite network in orbit, aiming to launch consumer internet by 2028. And they already have a deal supporting Apple's emergency texting.
So the infrastructure race is literally moving into space.
Yes.
And it's moving into our city streets.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Glidways, this automated vehicle startup. They just raised $250 million in fresh capital, on top of a $170 million Series C. They aren't just building self-driving cars. They are physically altering cities. They are building dedicated 2-meter-wide, closed-loop expressways for automated passenger pods.
It's unbelievable.
Construction is already underway in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, and a pilot is breaking ground near Atlanta. And guess who one of the major investors is?
Sam Altman.
Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI. So you have the software giants directly funding the physical transit layers of our cities.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we are witnessing a profound geopolitical and hardware race to control that physical layer.
Yeah.
The Stanford report noted that the US-China model gap has effectively closed. Anthropic's top model leads China's best model by only 2.7%.
Wow.
But crucially, the US is losing the talent war. The number of foreign AI researchers moving to the US dropped by 80% in the last year.
80%?
Yeah. Meanwhile, SoftBank just launched a new company backed by NEC, Honda, Sony, and other major Japanese firms to build a homegrown 1 trillion parameter physical AI model.
Wait, what exactly is a physical AI model?
Good question.
Like, how is a 1 trillion parameter physical model different from Claude or ChatGPT?
So a text-based large language model is trained by ingesting the internet, Wikipedia, articles, code. It learns to predict the next word.
Right.
A physical AI model is trained by ingesting sensor data, LiDAR, and torque measurements from robotics and vehicles, which is exactly why Honda and Sony are involved.
Ah, I see.
It learns to predict the next physical action based on the laws of gravity, friction, and spatial awareness.
Okay, wow.
It is designed to understand the physical constraints of the real world. That is the exact spatial awareness that Luna, the AI boss, lacked when it tried to hire a painter in Afghanistan.
And the friction between that limitless digital intelligence and our highly constrained physical world is getting dangerous.
It really is.
It is manifesting violently. This is the dark reality of that trust collapse we discussed earlier. A man was recently charged in an arson attack on Sam Altman's house.
It's terrifying.
According to prosecutors, he was carrying an AI CEO kill list.
It is the ultimate terrifying physical manifestation of the anxiety we saw in the Stanford data.
Yeah.
When people feel that their livelihoods and agency are being stripped away by opaque algorithmic systems they cannot vote out of office, systems they cannot negotiate with, they feel entirely powerless.
And profound powerlessness often mutates into extremism.
Exactly.
It is a stark, jarring reality. Let's just take a breath and recap the journey we've been on today because it is a lot to process.
It's a massive amount of information.
We started with Luna, a faceless AI agent blindly interviewing human beings over Zoom to run a retail store. We zoomed out to the Stanford data, showing a society where 53% of the world is using this tech, but where entry-level developers are losing their jobs and public trust is just cratering. We looked at the corporate titans, OpenAI, Anthropic, Meta, Google, locked in a cutthroat war for enterprise dominance, using accounting tricks and super apps entirely disconnected from that public anxiety.
Right.
And finally, we saw how this digital explosion requires massive physical resources, driving up laptop prices, launching satellites, altering our city streets, and driving some individuals to dangerous extremes.
It's all connected.
It is. If you are listening to this and feeling a deep sense of information overload or anxiety about your own career, everything we've read today validates that feeling.
The ground is quite literally shifting under your feet.
It absolutely is. And as we close today's deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought to ponder long after we finish here.
Please do. Ray Kurzweil says, we will reach human-level AGI by 2029. We spent a lot of time today discussing what human labor is worth when algorithms can do the work. But let's look beyond the economics.
Okay.
If AI manages our physical logistics, handles our corporate strategy, and ushers in an era of material abundance, what happens to human ambition?
Wow.
Do we enter a utopian renaissance where we are finally free to pursue art, philosophy, and connection? Or do we face a massive collective psychological regression because the fundamental struggle that has always given human life its meaning has been completely outsourced to a machine?
Proving your worth to a black screen on a Zoom call is one thing, but figuring out what to strive for when the machine doesn't need you anymore, that is the real question we have to answer. We'll leave it there for today.
That concludes our human interest rundown for April 14th. The signal for today is preservation. We are moving so fast that we are beginning to actively break the things that make us human. When the people building the technology are the only ones excited about it, while the rest of the world watches their entry-level jobs vanish, the social contract is failing. When we let an algorithm become an employer that interviews humans over Zoom, we are stripping the dignity out of labor. And when the very archive of human internet history has to be shut down just to stop AI companies from stealing data, we are trading our past for a synthetic future. You must fight to preserve your truth, your history, and your human connection. If you are going to use AI, use it on your terms and keep your human autonomy intact. Stop listening to the hustle bros pushing useless prompt guides. Head over to DjamgaMind.com/toolkit for my AI executive toolkit. I've personally forensic vetted every platform on this list to make sure they meet our rigorous standards. No fluff, just a curated implementation stack with exclusive listener perks. This episode was made possible by AIRIA and DjamgaMind. Keep your daily news human and completely ad-free by hitting subscribe on Apple Podcasts. I'm Etienne Newman. Stay human and keep unraveling the future. And before you go, if your company is building the tools that power the workflows we talked about today, I'd love to showcase them to this audience. We don't just run ads, we build technical simulations that prove your value. Let's build something together. Visit JamgaMind.com/partners to get started. Until next time, keep building.